K-State just changed. Sneed instead of. What? What? Hang on. 5 and 20. Okay, we're about ready to start with Kansas State.
Yeah, probably. Can I get some water, please? I can't say enough about our guys. I'm just so proud of them. I know it was an ugly win and probably hard to watch, but their perseverance that we've talked about, their courage, and just it's gutsy. I mean, we just kept saying we weren't scoring, but we just said kept guarding. We're still winning, and I don't know if we lost the lead the whole second half, but we talked about being the best defensive team in the tournament. I guess 59 and 43 are pretty good numbers against two really high-powered offensive teams. And then down the stretch, we didn't have many big plays during the game, but down the stretch, obviously Xavier made some big plays, the tip dunk, the pull-up jumper. Cam had a little jumper. Barry made a big pull-up jumper. Matt got a layup, got several blocks down the stretch. Xavier had, some steals. The steal was probably the big thing. I think it was one, and Xavier cut the middle, got the steal, drove down, got the dunk, and got the three. And I don't know, they might only scored one basket after that. So it was, I just, again, go back to their character, their courage, and persistence. And they bought in, they care about each other. And couldn't be more proud, and we're going to the Sweet 16.
Okay, questions first for Xavier and Barry. Raise your hand and please address your question to a specific student athlete. First question, second row, our right.
David Smale, Topeka Capital Journal. Barry, have you ever been in that hard of a fought game?
I've been in some tough games, some tough fought games where maybe we didn't come out the second half and execute like we did. But I think with our guys, the experience of having those losses, those tough losses, prepared us for this moment right here, and we were able to buckle down, stay poised, and make the big plays in the end.
The stats show that the defense was key, but there were probably half a dozen times, maybe more, where they came down with a chance to take the lead, and they never did. You guys really shut them down in critical moments. Talk about that.
We had a great scouting report knowing what they did, and I think all the coaches collaborated on it. But I think CeeLo took the head on it. We all bought in, and we all watched our matchups and watched pretty much everyone because we knew we were going to be switching a lot this game. And, down the stretch, we buckled down and got some stops. They had multiple opportunities to, like you said, take the lead, and we were able to fly around. Even when things broke down and they got into the lane, we flew around, contested every shot, boxed out and got the rebound.
Third row aisle.
Tim Fitzgerald, GoPowerCat.com. The steal and dunk, did that kind of feel like the breakthrough moment when you guys shook it loose and finally felt like you were getting control of it?
Definitely, got the steal and dunk like you said, and it just gave us a lot of energy and that boost to show us that we could win this game, and we pulled through and got the win.
To our right, standing up.
Barry, Pete Thamel from Yahoo Sports. I'm just wondering if you could talk about if you could just go through the challenge that Lyles presented, and you have to feel pretty happy with how you contained him defensively today.
Like I said, we all watched our matchups, and I knew that was going to be my matchup for most of the game, and I watched him. As soon as I found out we were going to play him, I started watching him at like 1 a.m., just seeing what he did and seeing what he liked to pick his spots and how the team gets him open. He's a good player. He has a plethora of moves and ways to score, ways to get to the basket, and ways to get his shot off. It wasn't just me. Like I said, we did a lot of switching. My teammates contained him as well. We had each other's back when he got into the lane and didn't let him really get going all game.
Front row.
Yeah, Matt Hall, K-State Online. X, if you can believe this, a lot of us have never had a tip dunk in this crowd. Can you walk us through kind of the process of how you know that's going to come off and finishing that process off Barry's miss?
I'm always crashing the glass on opposite end. Somebody didn't box me out, so I saw the shot go up, just did the play, the rest of it.
Far left, third row.
Roger Rubin from the Fieldhouse for Barry. Barry, this is, two games in 3 days, and you have shut down a couple of the most dynamic scorers that you're going to find in the tournament. Can you describe the feeling of satisfaction that you have when you do something like this? Is it a point of pride?
I take a lot of pride in my defense personally, and I think my coaches know that, and they trust me, and my teammates trust me to guard the best player, the best guard on each team every game, night in, night out. And I guess they see the work I put in and the watching the film on them and stuff like that. and plus the scouting report we're going to have every time to let me know some of the other stuff that they do. And I mean, just credit my coaches and my teammates for having my back and trusting me to guard the best player. I mean, when I get it, I mean, I'm happy. I mean, I think I held him to 4-15. I think that's pretty good. I mean, like I said, my teammates had my back. It wasn't just me. It was really all of us containing him and stopping him when he got into the lane. He hit some big shots down the stretch, but for the most part, we contained him enough to not let him score in bunches.
Back of the room in front of me.
For both players, Vahe Gregorian, Kansas City Star, can you just describe the feeling of knowing you've gotten this far and going to the Sweet 16, and also how did Coach Weber's hair get to be like it is?
X?
It's just a real feeling, you know. I'm still taking it all in right now, just to be in the Sweet 16. It's been a long time since we've been there. First time under Coach Weber here, so it's just a great feeling.
Barry.
I mean, hats off to Coach, man. Hats off to our whole coaching staff and all the players, all the hard work we put in. It's been a long time coming, and I'm just taking it all in, like X said, and I mean, it's surreal to be in a position that we are. But I mean, with the work we've put in, we deserve it, and we're gonna show what we can do.
Anybody want to take credit for his hair?
Oh, Coach Hair got that way. We had a little pool party in the locker room.
Front row.
Nick Kaler from Heroes Media Group. Questions for Barry. When you were having the defensive moment with Mara when he started hitting threes, you ended up coming up with a steal shortly after that led to kind of a little bit of a momentum change. Can you tell me about the excitement that when you make a change like that, what takes place in your mind?
I'm not really sure exactly what play, but I mean, just a moment. Getting a steal when I know he was hitting a few threes, kind of in the same spot almost, and they kind of had the momentum, but getting that steal just kind of shifted the momentum. I remember them kind of going back and forth with each other a little bit. And, it was at that time I kind of knew that we kind of had them a little bit. We were in their heads a little bit. We were flying around, and I think it was frustrating them.
Take two more questions. To our right.
Barry, what was the problem with your offense? I mean, you didn't shoot real well. Was it them, or were you guys just cold tonight?
I think we were a little bit cold tonight. I mean, they had a great defensive scheme for us, but I think it was execution and just have a little bit too much jitters in the start of the game, kind of playing me ball one-on-one and not executing like Coach drew the plays up. But I think over the course of the game, we started buying in a little bit more and staying poised, controlling ourselves, and executing.
Take one more question for the student athletes. Anyone interested? Okay, guys, thanks. You can head back to the locker room. Congratulations. Keep it going. Good luck to you. Okay, questions for Coach? Towards the back on the right.
Bruce Blair Kirkhoff with the Kansas City Star. You know, when we talked to you yesterday, I don't know how much you had seen Umbc or broke them down or talked to your players about them. What did you have to say to them kind of to make sure they knew they were playing an opponent that was dangerous and could get after them a little bit, and one they hadn't heard of maybe before tonight?
I think if it didn't get their attention that they beat Virginia by 20, the number one team in the ACC and the conference, that they won the conference and the tournament, that had the most teams in the tournament. It had to catch their attention. And I told you guys yesterday, I called them back about midnight, and we had a little meeting, and I just said, guys, one, I joked, I told you Virginia wasn't very good, and then two, I said, this other team is really good. And I thought we forced some things early. They jumped on a 7-0. Guys trying to make plays. It was a big game for our guys, and and then we settled down and grinded it out. We got lots of stops after that 7-0 run. Finally got the lead, kept the lead at halftime, and all we talked about at halftime was, positive energy. Stay the course, keep doing what we do. We got to keep guarding. I in the huddles I kept saying, somebody step up and make a play, and Xavier stealing the dunk, the tip dunk. Cam hit the little pull-up. Barry hit a pull-up. Cardi got a steal, and then Mac, blocked a couple shots in that stretch. And there was a lot of big plays. And, they're good kids. They really care. They want to do well, and they just stayed the course, and you can't be more proud of them.
Far left.
Roger Rubin from the Fieldhouse. Bruce, over here.
Yes.
Barry clearly does not like to talk about himself and his performance. So could you please speak to the effort that he turned in and how he ought to feel about it?
I've said since the beginning of the season that he's if not the best defensive player. You know, Carter's really good at West Virginia in the Big 12. You know, and maybe one of the best in the country, and he takes a lot of pride in it. He's got a lot of confidence. When he was a freshman, I said, who's going to be our defensive stopper? I was hoping some of the older guys would step up, and Barry just said, I am. And he's taken on that role. And he got cooked a little bit when he was young, but now he studies the game. You know, I mean, to do what he did to Marcus Foster the other night is you know, it takes energy, it takes courage, but it also takes being a student of the game, and you know, because he knew where he was going. You know, Lyles is so dynamic. He can score in a lot of ways. He got him on that three. The other part with Barry, he was so tired. He was so tired, and he kept fighting it. And we were asking him to make plays on offense, make his free throws, guard the best guys. You know, and he just grinded it out, gutted it out, and you know, he's been our leader. You know, when you have great leadership and guys that care, it makes it so easy for the coaches.
First row, front row.
Yeah, Coach. Every time we ask something like this, you always praise the players and talk about how it's for them, and I know that's sincere, but I'll try one more time. For you, what does this win mean?
You know, again, I'm happy for these guys because they worked so hard. I threw this at them way back in April last spring. I said, guys, we won a game. Now the next step is to get to the Sweet 16, and I threw it at them a couple weeks ago. You know, again, just you put that little vision in there. You know, you know, and obviously we didn't think 16 was going to make, you know, beat a 1. You know, you thought it would be a little different situation, but, you know, we just said we could write history tonight. No 9 has ever beaten a 16 to go to the Sweet 16. So we wrote our own history tonight. They wrote history the other day, and, you know, our staff does an unbelievable job. You know, I challenge them. I've told you guys one of my most disappointing losses was LaSalle, for Rodney, for Shane, J.O., all those guys. I didn't think they prepared. I didn't think we did as good a job as we should. You know, we had our chances down the stretch, but it was so disappointing. And I challenged our coaches. They were up till 6 o'clock yesterday morning. You know, I went to bed about 4, tried to go to bed at 4, and they did a great job. And Barry talked about it. They buy into the scouting report. They believe our coaches. They all had part of it. And, you know, so between the coaches and players, it's just a nice reward. And, you know, and for our fans, too. You know, it's great. You know, they all, you know, always talk about Jacob Pullen going to Sweet 16. Well, we got another group that did it without our best player. And I think you talk about that. I mean, that's pretty good that they were able to do that.
Second row to our right.
Coach, was there any point in the second half when you felt the pressure was getting to your guys? Because this was a team that just wouldn't go away. Yeah. Did you feel like they were feeling a little bit of the pressure of the world against them?
I think the big thing we tried to do is stay in the huddle, stay confident and poised. No matter how dumb we played or how bad we played, I just kept saying, we're fine, guys. We're still winning. Keep guarding, you know, and somebody step up and make some plays, and we did down the stretch. And, you know, we didn't execute a whole bunch. And you know, the thing, you guys, you got to realize, in less than a week, we had to change schemes that we've run for 5 months. And Xavier, sometimes he'll look at me, I'll call something. He goes, Coach, I don't know. So in the middle of the play, I'll have to yell something else. And, you know, even today, we stayed at shoot-around about an hour and a half. And because David kept saying, Coach, I got to know the out-of-bounds plays. I got to know this. And, you know, so and even the other guys, not only Xavier, but now you put Cam, Cardi, and Barry together, they haven't run all the stuff, you know. So sometimes we looked a little ugly, but they found a way to win.
Front row.
Coach Chris Kroger, WFNZ here in Charlotte. You talked about the unpredictability of a 16 beating a 1. Obviously, that's never happened before this weekend. This will be the first regional ever where there's no top 4 seeds in Atlanta next weekend. So
is that where we're going?
Yes. So from that standpoint,
I haven't looked at it. I'm being honest.
Okay. So from that standpoint, what is it about this tournament that just lends to this sort of unpredictability?
Well, we told the guys before, you know, look at today alone, Michigan State. North Carolina at home, basically at home, losing today. It just shows the balance in the tournament, the vulnerability of every team. You got to come to play. You got to stay away from injuries. Obviously, Virginia gets an injury. We get an injury. Purdue has an injury. So many injuries down the stretch here. But, it's what makes March Madness special. And it kills the coaches, because it's so hard. And you think you have a great team. Matchups are important, making the plays, having the right mojo at the right time. And again, why does everyone watch it? Why does everyone come? It's March Madness, and you never know what's going to happen.
Coach, thank you.
Thank you.
The Kansas State locker room is open for another 10 minutes. Okay, we're about to start with UMBC. They'll be bringing seniors Jairus Lyles and KJ Mora.
Yeah. Obviously, congratulations to Coach Weber and Kansas State. I thought they played excellent defense, throughout the game. Their athleticism bothered us at times, and their switching certainly early in the game in the first half. Throughout the first half, I thought we were kind of a little bit stagnant on the offensive end. We were standing a little bit too much, and they had a lot to do with that. They were switching and keeping their bodies in front of us. And in the second half, we were fortunate to be down 5 actually at half, and we felt like we hadn't played very well, amongst us in the locker room. And we came out in the second half. We felt like we had to pressure a little bit more. Obviously, we had some success there. We felt like we had to move the ball and move our bodies a whole lot more than we did in the first half on offense, and our guys certainly did that. We tried to get multiple drives into the paint. Felt like we did that. And felt like we got some good shots, when it was 38-37, Jairus went down the lane, got right in a shot that he's made a zillion times for us all year, and it just didn't go down. Wasn't meant to be there. But nothing can take away. This loss can't take away what these kids, these two in particular, and then obviously the rest of our team, has been able to accomplish, throughout this entire season. Certainly in the NCAA tournament, just to be here, is a blessing for sure. And I wrote one word on the board for these guys, once we got into the locker room at the end, about how I felt about them, and just proud. Just very proud of these kids and what they've been able to do, the representatives that they are for our university, and they've captured our country and beyond, to be honest, from a sporting perspective, and it's really, really neat to see.
Okay, questions first for Jairus and KJ. Raise your hand and let us know who you are, and please address your question to a specific student athlete. First question to our right.
David Smale, Topeka Capital Journal. Jairus, can you talk about what K-State's defense did to slow you down, both you personally and the team?
I think they did a good job of speeding us up. We had a lot of turnovers. But for the most part, I felt like we got open shots. We just didn't make any shots today. It happened some games. Unfortunately, it happened today. But I felt like for the most part, we got open shots.
To our left.
Kiara Luck of Black Sports Online. This can go for either student. Despite this loss, do you guys still see the win in all of this, you know, with the shoes from Steph Curry and how, like your coach said, the world fell in love with you? And, you know, everyone was really cheering for you. So even though you lost a really tough game, do you still see the bright spot in this?
KJ.
Yeah, I think we do. I think we put our name in the map. I think we're giving hope to teams that come to the tournament with lower seeds. I think we're giving hope to guys that are not even that tall like me. So people that feel like they're underdogs in their life, I think we're giving them hope to everything they want to do in life.
Jairus.
Of course we had a great season. We made history the other night. But we wanted to win tonight. We felt like we had a good chance of winning, but unfortunately we lost. But I felt like overall we understand that what we did the other night, we understand we had a great season. We did the unexpected. So we're proud of each other for that.
Second row in the aisle.
Hey, Jairus, Gene Wong with the Washington Post. I'm curious if there's any fatigue maybe in the second half. I think you guys missed some free throws that you typically would make, some open looks. Was that contributed to it at all?
Yeah, I'm not going to make any excuses. I got to hit those free throws. I missed a couple of shots I usually make. Just one of those days.
Second row to our right.
The world was looking at you as Cinderella, but I don't think you guys looked at yourself that way. How did you, when did you figure out that it wasn't going to happen? It looked like you were mentally into it the whole game.
KJ.
I think we never lost confidence in ourselves. Even when they had a little run and had like a 5-point lead, we was still with a mentality we was going to win the game. We just didn't execute it down the stretch.
Jairus.
Yeah, like he said, we didn't execute enough. We didn't make enough plays down the stretch to win. We had a couple chances to take the lead with about, I think, 2 minutes left, 2 or 3 minutes left, but we just didn't make shots, like I said before. And they made shots, timely shots. I think they hit 2 buzzer beaters basically at the end of the shot clock and put them up about 4 points or 5 points.
Middle of the room, aisle.
Jairus, Dan Walken, USA Today. How would you describe how different your preparation was the past 48 hours, given everything you guys had to deal with from anything you've experienced before? And secondly, did maybe some of that take a little bit out of you heading into the game?
We knew coming into this tournament that every team we were going to play was going to be a high major, given our seed. So we knew we had to prepare for bigger people, bigger players, bigger guards, bigger big men. So we just knew it was going to be a tough task anytime we stepped on the floor.
Third row to our right.
Connor O'Neill with the Winston-Salem Journal. KJ, it looked like it was about 9 seconds left when y'all got subbed out of the game. Not only were hugging your reserves, but hugging the K-State players. I was wondering what went into that moment and kind of what that meant to you.
I think it was mutual respect. It was a good game. We played hard. Both teams played hard. The guard from Kansas State, Kamal, is good people. He's from Baltimore too, so we have a good relationship. We was talking during the whole game. They good kids, good guys. So I think we got a little emotional, but we was just encouraging them to make it happen and make a run in the tournament.
Middle of the room aisle.
Mark Tracy from the New York Times right here. I know it's currently spring break, but eventually you'll get back to campus and everyone else will be back at campus. What kind of reception do you hope for and what kind of reception do you anticipate?
Jairus?
Well, our fans traveled a long way these past few days to come support us. We've had tremendous support from our fans all year, people at the school. I expect them to be very happy with us when we get back, proud of us. But, of course we wanted to go into the next round, but it didn't happen that way. But I expect a warm welcome.
KJ.
Yeah, I expect them to be really proud for what we've done. I expect a lot of happiness, a lot of smile around campus. I think we've been given that from the support. The fans came here a long way to see us. That means a lot for us, and I really expect a lot of smiles when we come back.
Back of the room.
Jenna Fryer, Associated Press. Coach, the guys were in the locker room were saying you
For
told
the
them
student athletes first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep, it's okay.
I missed the opening. Then
okay.
I'll wait.
Back in the room.
Brendan Marks, the Charlotte Observer. This is for Jerry S. and KJ. When you guys look back in your time at UMBC and, in 5 years from now, is this going to be the thing that stands out the most to you, or what will you think about the most?
Go ahead.
We had I got here, when I got here first, we were a 4-win team that year, and then the next year we went on to win 7 games, and then Coach Odom and his staff came in, we won 21 games, and then this year we had a tremendous season, so, this will definitely be one of the biggest memories we remember for life, so, yeah.
I think the biggest moment for us was Jared Lyle's shot against Vermont. I think nothing can top that. But we really enjoyed ourselves after the Virginia game. I think it was something that nobody expected. Just us inside the locker room, we expected to win, but outside of ourselves, nobody thought that we was gonna win. So I think both moments are really big for us, and it's gonna live forever in UMBC.
Last question for the student athletes.
This question's for Jairus. A lot of people have been comparing you to C.J. McCollum as far as his play with Lehigh and what they've done with Duke. How do you feel about that comparison?
Anytime you get compared to an NBA player, as great as he is, it's a blessing. But it's more work to be done. Hopefully I can play in that league one day. So it's always a blessing to be compared to a great NBA player.
Okay, Jairus, KJ, thanks. You can head back to the locker room. Congratulations on a great year and a great career.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll take questions now for Coach. First question in the back.
I'll try again. Jenna Fryer, Associated Press. The guys were saying that you told them after the game about a friend of yours in Rome and another in Korea that couldn't stop talking about UMBC. Obviously, the upset win puts you guys on the map, but why do you think that people resonated with this team or you fell in love with them?
Yeah, certainly we were picked, we were 16 seeds. So, I think that's where it all started. But then when you begin to watch this team and how they play with passion, they play with heart, they play together, which is what we say when we put our hands in the huddle every time. We do things together for one another. And, obviously when you have a big win like that and it's so shocking, people love to see that. They love to see the upset. And, our guys handled it, with grace and understood the circumstances. They, weren't pounding their chests or anything. They expected to be here and they expected to compete, no different than they did tonight. And it didn't go our way tonight, and Kansas State deserved to win. But I'm just really proud of the way these guys handle themselves, on a daily basis. And from the moment we stepped on campus to now, the growth that I've seen in each one of them, is monumental. It's really special. From a leadership standpoint, from a just everything, how they handle their business. I don't have to worry about very much with this crew.
Far left.
Jonah Schaefer, Baltimore Sun. Coach, obviously these guys hate to lose. You know them as well as anyone. Do you think it'll be easy for them to focus more on the good of this season, of what they did Friday, of what they did against Vermont, versus what they might feel as a missed opportunity by not having a good shooting night tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we talked about in the locker room. We couldn't really talk about that after the Virginia game because we had to play Kansas State, tonight. And, but once your season ends, you can kind of reflect and look back at, all the things that happened throughout. I go back to that Albany game where we got pounded up there. And, the way, it takes true character to come back from that. And, our guys were able to do that collectively. It wasn't just one person. One person, it wouldn't have happened. And, my staff, was unbelievable. And I have a great staff. And, I'm just so proud of everybody involved in the program, because it could have gone down at that moment. And, true character is determined at moments like that when it's, you're at your worst. And, you got to answer the bell. And these guys did that throughout the year.
To our right, middle of the room.
Justin Parker, AP. As your starters left the game with 20 seconds to go or something, a lot of the K-State players came over and talked to them. What did you see in that moment? And I mean, you don't see that a lot.
Yeah. I think exactly what KJ said. You know, just a mutual respect. I mean, you know, I think I've heard from so many coaches around the country that have, you know, text and just been so excited for what has happened for these kids and seeing them play the way that they've played and you know, over this tournament and in our conference tournament. And, you know, I think the Kansas State guys, you know, respected, you know, how hard our guys, you know, tried to win. And likewise, we respected how hard they tried to win, and they got it done.
To our right, standing up.
Kyle McFadden, Maryland Sports Access coach. If you had a message to your fan base or just the whole country about what you did here this weekend, what would that be?
Yeah, I mean, just believe in yourself. You know, I think that's the first thing. You know, people will tell you in life you can't do something, and if you believe them, then you won't. And these kids never wavered, you know, throughout, and you know, they believed that they could do this, and they got it done.
Follow up.
And then where do you feel like you lost this game here tonight?
Yeah, I think it was the turnovers. You know, we had way too many turnovers. I couldn't tell you the last time we had 17 turnovers in a game. KJ I think he had 6. I mean, he's immaculate with the ball, and he had 6 turnovers in this game. And credit Kansas State for knocking balls away and you know, having active hands and putting us in some, you know, positions that we didn't want to be in. So I think it was there. Certainly the free throw shooting was not what it needed to be. This is really the first game that's, you know, kind of really hurt us. We have not been a good free throw shooting team all year, not from lack of working on it. But, you know, usually when Jarris gets up there, when KJ gets up there, those guys shoot the ball really well from the free throw line. And even Jarris missed a few, you know, in the game today.
Second row, right in front of us.
Hey, Ryan, Gene Wong, Washington Post. The wins obviously have been great, but when you kind of look back on this particular group, what are you going to take away the most from what they gave you this season?
Just how much they gave for one another. You know, again, it's unselfish. That's how I describe them. And, you know, Jarris really grew this year, you know, from a leadership standpoint. You know, him coming back. They had a goal. They wanted to win the championship, and they accomplished that. So, I mean, that's what I'm going to remember most about them. They set out, you know, to win it, and they got it done. And they did it through hard work. You know, they did it through loving one another. They did it through unselfishness and believing in one another. And, you know, that shot will go down in history at Vermont. I mean, a lot of tears that day. I mean, everybody was crying after that win.
Any other questions? Front row to our left.
So there's a lot of talk around campus about Jarris Lyles being perhaps the best player in UMBC basketball history. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously right there. I mean, you know, for all-time, the most wins in school history. You know, he broke the single-season scoring record. You know, he's just been an amazing, amazing player. And, you know, obviously credit to, you know, Aki Thomas needs credit, you know, for this too, the previous coach and his staff, because I didn't recruit, you know, Jarris. And, you know, they got him to campus. They got him to come to UMBC, and, you know, the rest is history.
Back of the room, last row.
Does your job in recruiting and getting people to know about UMBC become any easier after this weekend?
I don't know. I mean, you know, we'll see. You know, we have to, you know, we all have to go out and recruit all the universities and try to get the best, you know, student athletes that we can get. You know, UMBC is a unique place. You know, a lot of high achieving kids on campus, and you know, that's what we want. You know, we want guys that want to be great, you know, from a basketball perspective and want to play after college. You know, but at the same time, we want folks that, you know, are highly motivated academically, that you know, want to do great things past basketball, because the air goes out of the ball at some point for everybody, and you know, you don't want to have the oh boy, what now, you know, moment. And you know, that's why UMBC is so great. You know, it transforms lives. You know, our president, is right there in there with the students. And it's not just the athletes, it's everybody. And, it's a really neat thing to see.
First row.
Coach Chris Kroger, WFNZ in Charlotte. Your dad was telling a story last week about leading up to the Virginia game, how you were a ball boy. He could remember you riding your bike to John Paul Jones Arena as a kid when he was coaching. You've talked about sharing this with your team, but being around your parents over the last couple of days, is there anything that you'll just kind of take with you forever, whether it was a conversation or just a few minutes together? Is there anything that stands out from just being able to share this with them?
Yeah, I mean, certainly I love my mom and my dad to death. They're so supportive. They believe in their sons, obviously Lane and myself, and, they're just so supportive. But, the hug after beating UVA was very, very special. I'll say this, having Dad at practice, the last couple of days has been really neat. He's so good around the kids, he jokes with them, and they love having him around. Back in October, they sang happy birthday to him at one of the practices because he happened to be there on his birthday, and they were messing with his hair and all that. And he's a funny guy. He loves the game, right? And he loves kids. He loves to help kids. He loves to see them, really, really do well. And my mom, as anybody will tell you, is the nicest lady on the entire planet.
Question, third row to our right.
Ryan, while we're on the subject of connections like that, I'm curious if you were able to look into the UMBC section and see some Reynolds teammates of yours, some Hampton-Sydney teammates of yours, and what that meant to you.
I wasn't able to actually pick everybody out, but I had so many friends, guys from Hampton-Sydney, guys from, RJR that came to the game. It was really, really special. College teammates of mine, and it's amazing that we were this close, that all of my close friends could be able to come to the game, and my wife's friends as well, and my kids' friends, my parents' friends, my brother's friends. I mean, it was a special weekend here for us.
Okay, thank you, Coach.
All right, thanks.